Greetings. Tony from Old River Hardgoods again. The music you're listening to is Mountain Morning from my third CD, Angels on Fire. And as always, there's a link to the full version and a video I made of it a number of years back down there in the description. And today's going to be one of them double type videos. We're going to take a look at some old tools. A closer look at some things that came through the shop not too long ago, as well as some little more historical items. And we're also going to be taking a quick trip down to the Renningers Kutztown Antiques Extravaganza. This is the spring show for 2026, first one of the year. So we'll see what we can find down there. So I'm not going to bore you as always with a whole bunch of road and riding, but I'll tell you what, it is quite a beautiful morning. We're going to take a closer look at a tool I picked up at this year's patina, and it's this hand-forged reamer. It's 9 1/8 inches overall. The blade is 6 inches long, and it's 1 1/8 inches across the top. And what makes this guy pretty neat is the fact that it was forged from a file. If you can pick up the teeth there in the picture, but you can definitely see them up close. And I gotta say, this is a gorgeous, gorgeous example of blacksmithing work. I mean, it is just well made. Lead screw's good, the edges could stand a little bit of a wipe with a stone, but very unusual form for one of these guys. And the handle looks to be original. Copper little plate there's got a crack in it, but everything's on tight. Oak handle. A few stains and what have you. Things like that happen when you get old, right? I'll tell you, this has got to be the first one like this that I've ever seen, and I've handled a number of these tools over the years, but they sure aren't getting any easier to find. Well, we're here. My buddy Jonathan's stand, gonna take a look at there. Stopped at the one place on the way in, didn't find nothing, so. But time to get out, walk around a little bit. Gates open at 9, got about an hour to go, so. But we'll see what we see. Well, early on in my YouTube career, I did a video on the tools used by slate roofing and slate industry in general. And I'll have a link down there in the description if you want to go check that out. And I recently acquired this particular tool called a slate ripper. Of course, these are used for cutting the nails that hold the slate tiles on, which originally were copper, now they're using aluminum ones. I keep them from rusting. And the tip of this is inserted up under the slates. This is one of these hooks caught on the nail, and then this end is hammered to draw it back. And this guy's a little shy of 20 inches long, which is kind of neat. And what was also unusual about it, it's also got a nail claw on the end. I've never seen one like it before. And of course, this is hand forged. And it's in decent shape. Sorry about the camera wiggle there. It was painted black originally, and I just kind of took down a little bit of rust and Love the original black paint. It's got some tiny dots of white paint on it, but does on everything these days. But I think it's a pretty neat tool. And like I said, I've never seen another one like this. And somebody must have used it because, you know, it does have the right patina on it. But definitely a very, very collectible old slate tool. Well, here it is, 8:30, and this is the line waiting to get in at 9 o'clock. So a lot of people already. It's probably going to get a lot busier. Can't really tell from the vendor setups, but it looks like there's a fair number. So I guess we'll find out in half an hour. The line's back there, folks.
No kidding. I know. We're not going.
Well, here we go. And here we're going to take a look at a early brace I sold a number of years back. I actually picked this one up at Kutztown back in the spring of 2021. And these get called by a number of names, but Jim Bodie calls them hand braces, so that's what I'm going to go with. I don't have any of the speeds and feeds on this guy much because I can't find the emails for it. This got picked up off of one of my pictures. I posted items I had found. Somebody said, I want it. And I can't find where all the info was that went along with it. So I'm going to be guessing here, but I'm thinking it was about 14, maybe 15 inches long. No maker's mark. I'm thinking French maybe, European for sure, with the brass frame and iron chuck. And it was in pretty good shape. Someone actually cleaned it up before I got it. I didn't do anything with it. As you can see on the chuck there, this took both square tang bits and the flat tang bits. Definitely European sign. And I mean, everything worked on it really nice. The crank handle and the pad, I'm thinking were pear wood or some kind of fruit wood, but kind of looks like pear. Did have a check, but everything was on tight. And tell you what, it's a pretty neat piece. And she had a couple others there, if I remember, but this was the nicest one out of the lot, so that's why I grabbed it. And again, I've only seen one other one out in the wild, and it was a guy was asking like Jim Bodie type prices for it, you know, at a flea market, which isn't going to work real well. But anyways, just a beautiful and very collectible old tool. We are back here. And my first score of the trip. It's starting to look kind of bleak. I had to pay up a little to get the stuff, but yeah, I think I got some good items. So, but day's not bad, sky's nice. So, time to keep on plugging, see what else we can find. Here we have something you don't see every day, and that is a wire recorder. Before there was tape, before there was cassettes, 8-tracks, CDs, any of that stuff. This is how sounds were recorded on spools of wire. Webster, Chicago. I'll have to look that up. Oh, my buddy's got it. Well, I'm going to be doing a recording over this anyways, but I don't know if it works. I'm not interested in buying it. He's got a whole box of these spools, but something interesting is the fact that my parents had one of these. And unfortunately, all that stuff got thrown away, but my first words were recorded on a spool of wire, just like this. So, another interesting piece of history, that's for sure. Back here in the first pavilion. My regular guy didn't have nothing, but I picked up a couple pieces from one other one. A lot of people, a lot of stuff. It's not my kind of stuff, but what are you gonna do? Here's something you don't see very often at all. This is a Cobbler's last set used for making and repairing shoes. Now, I'm sure everybody's familiar with the cast iron ones, which they produce by the hundreds of thousands. I mean, most trips at a flea market, I could buy 2 or 3 if I really wanted to. But this one was hand forged. Let me take a look at it. Come out of Lancaster County, PA area. And 3 of the head sword are lasts. This one would be more of an adult size, more of a woman size, and of course a child size. There's no maker's mark on it. And, I did do some cleaning on it. Not too much, but just to kind of pretty it up a bit. And I've had this guy since 2023 for some crazy reason. Well, I know, because I wasn't giving it away, but that's beside the point. I've never seen another set like this, But somebody finally recognized it for the collectible that it is, and as soon as I get done filming this little segment, it's going to be off to its new home. So, anyways, another great collectible, tool of the leather trade. Well, I just made one trip. It's 10 o'clock. Unload. Track was getting a little on the heavy side, considering the bum shoulder I have. So then I come back here, which I didn't hit the first time around, and then hit the second pavilion and see what else can be found. So far, the pickings have been okay. Nothing spectacular. Prices were up, and had to pass on a couple things because prices were up, but I love it when somebody says, "Oh, I don't know what it's for, but it's got to be worth at least $50." It's like, okay, yeah. Good luck. Anyways, I'm going to keep it picking. Well, here we're going to take a look at a couple of early hammers. This one, if I remember correctly, because it's been quite a while, was about 1 pound or so. Hand forged, steel on the face and the peen with a wrought iron body. And the style of it and weight of it suggests that this was probably a dingle stock hammer. No maker's mark, and as you can see, it was in pretty well used condition. I'm guessing the age of this guy was either late 18th, early 19th century, based on the decorative lines on the top and the notches. You can see more patina, little mushrooming on the peen. The face and peen both had some pitting, but the eye was good. And, stuff happens when you get old, right? Next up is this little tack hammer. Also hand forged. Again, lots of patina. Decorative notches filed on the back. This one probably was 19th century as opposed to 18th century, and again, these had some tiny chips around the rim, and the peen had some chip in it as well, but I used to be able to find lots of old hammers like this, but these days when I see them, they're pretty much on the dead and dying list. I mean, usually these guys got patina. I'm talking faces all mushroomed up or big hunks missing out of them. One time, long time ago, I'm going back 20 years, there used to be a guy way out at the far end of Schuylkill County that on Fridays used to have a little flea market. He called it, but it was an antique store or whatever. And he would do house clean-outs, and you never know what he'd get. Well, one day I pull up and sitting out front all these boxes of tools. And he'd just done a clean out of a guy who had worked in the coal mines. And I must have pulled close to 25 good hand-forged hammers, different sizes. A bunch of really nicely made hand-forged cold chisels and a few other things I don't remember. But Those days, unfortunately, are long gone. Matter of fact, from that same guy, I got a couple of early saws, early distance saws. One of them, when I took it apart, had the initials HD stamped on the blade. One of the things with the very, very first years of the distant company was whoever made the saw, or at least made the blade, stamped their initials on it, so they knew who to blame if there was a problem with it. Again, you don't find stuff like that anymore. Well, the second pass was a bust, so it's about 11:15. Time to head back to the shop and take a look at what we got. So we'll catch you when we get there. And here we have the pickings from today's little Kutztown adventure. Not much for quantity, I can talk, but still some good stuff. Here we have a plated bitstock by, I believe it's Hancock. Can't find them in any of the records. Might have been an ironmonger's mark, but pretty good shape. That's a knot hole there. It's not a crack. Beach. I don't know about the pad. Pad, I guess, is original, but if not, somebody did a really nice job on replacing it. Chuck is good. Kind of an oddball here. This is an activator wrench or key for an old detonator. Kind of boom, turn it, and boom, things would go bang. And this one spent some time in the ground. This is an oddball knife. One blade's a little saw, pruning, and the other one's a cut. No clasp to it. And, pretty neat, I think. An 18th century divider here. Nobody's marked as a present. It's going to need a little work. This is a newer Osborne draw gauge. Got the name on the bottom. Unfortunately, the blade screw's kind of wedged in there tight, so it's going to take some careful futzing with to get that out. This is a pattern maker's made iron router. This puppy's heavy. This has got to be close to 3 pounds, 2-3 pounds. And I'll detail it a little bit, but not going to go too crazy with it. Here we have a M. Copeland, who was the predecessor to the H. Chapin Company. OG plane, although I suspect this guy originally was a straight rabbit, somebody modified. Could be wrong with just the way it looks. User added fence to it, but overall looks to be in pretty good shape, and I think it's kind of neat. So nice user mark on the back there. And last up is this white stone. I did have it out. I don't want to go out one-handed, so I'm not going to fight with it. A wooden case, and yeah, come on, there we go. Yeah, all white. Feels like a fine white. Definitely got some wear on the one side. And definitely been used a few times. The case is user made, not, it's pieced together. It's not a solid piece, but I don't know. I thought it was neat. So, anyways, not the best haul I've had out of there, but it's better than no haul at all. Well, that's all for this one, folks. Hope you enjoyed our little look at some great collectible tools, as well as our road trip down to Kutztown. And as always, and if you like what you're seeing, please hit that subscribe button to be notified when new videos are posted. Thanks for watching, and bye.